Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Lydia with Raindrop Lila, and today I have a journal I want to share with you guys. This is actually my mini yellow journal, and it is my cottage core journal. And I made this cover for it, and it kind of turned out to look like a little cottage. So then I decorated it and I hand stitched everything so that it does so that basically it's like a little cottage, and I think it came out so cute. I just love all the details, and everything was hand stitched by me. A lot of slow stitching and embroidery. The top, the roof top has all these flowers hand sewed on there, and I think it looks like a little fairy house actually. I think it turned out so cute. And then I have the journal on the inside. Okay, I'll show you guys how this looks too. Okay, so if you wanted to make one, this is almost like a little square. And then the cover is just a little bit bigger than, because the rooftop usually is a little bit bigger. It's bigger than this part. See that? I just think it will be so cute sitting on a shelf, and it also protects the journal. So I love the way that turned out. And then we have the journal here, and it's a smaller, even though it's a smaller size journal, look how thick it is. Let's see, I'm going to measure it. Oops. Okay, so it's approximately, it's about 5 inches wide, although I think the pages will be around 4.5 inches. And then it's about 7 inches, between 6.5 to 7 inches tall. And then it's about 2.5 inches wide, at least on the spine. But out here, it's about 3 inches wide. And now I stuffed it full with a lot of different ephemera and a lot of layering. And so some of the pieces could be removed, but I think it's cute. And I think that it filled up really nicely. Okay. I also, once I finished working on this journal, I pulled together some of the fabrics and the textiles and different pieces that I use for this journal, and I made one textile kit with just various pieces that I use for this journal, because when I work on a journal, I like to have plenty of fabric, because I just need that room so I could be creative. And so I always keep a good amount for my work, and then whatever I had extras, I put together. So if you wanted to make something similar, I have just one of these. And okay, so we can go ahead and open her up. Okay, so basically the cover is made of this soft cover. It's like a quilted fabric, and it's white. And then on the cover, I have this, it's like a chiffon piece in like this really pretty buttery yellow color. And then I embroidered tiny little French knots, which basically I embroidered like little roses. They look like little rosebuds on there. And then on the spine, I hand sewed some white eyelet. I have the yellow sari trim up here and at the bottom, and then I sewed the little bows as embellishment. And then I have this really pretty, what is it called? Smocked fabric. And this is vintage, and it's basically yellow and white Swiss dotted fabric. I don't know if you're going to see that here. Let's see, like this. And I just love this. I think it turned out really nice. So everything's been hand sewed, and then I sewed on this cotton fabric. I believe it's the same fabric that I used for this. Right. Okay, and then I attached a bead, a yellow bead with a bowl pin on there. Okay, so when you open it up, I have a pocket here made out of lace, and I have some sari trim right here and some pretty yellow trim on the side there. So in the pocket, I included this little envelope, which is embellished. Now for the printables in this journal, I used my Cottage Core Yellow Roses printables, and I also used another printable, Dreams of Spring, and I will link them below. Okay, so in here, I can't even remember what I did. Okay, so I have this little piece and it's tied up. Where the roses, okay, so where the roses bloom, so do forgotten dreams. And then it's embellished with a bit of fabric and some lace, and then this was just tied around it. This journal now will be coming to my Etsy shop, but I hope you guys enjoy the flip through, and I will try to point out different things I did in the journal so that you guys, so that maybe it's inspiring for your work in your journals. I always love watching flip throughs and getting ideas from other people's work too. So I try to keep that in mind when I share my journal flip throughs, to kind of try to point things out that I did so that maybe it'll inspire you or give you ideas if you are kind of having some creative block. Okay, so this, I used a little sentiment from one of my printables, A Garden of Dreams, and I actually layered that. I have like some fabric there, some vintage fabric, and then just some craft paper. And then isn't that just such a cute picture? I just love that illustration with the bird and the little baby. I have some lace here that, let's see, does it go? So it's just on the spine right here, right? Okay, so here I have a pocket and I have a viewfinder. I haven't actually made viewfinders for a while, so I decided to make some for my yellow collection, and I just love using them. I think they're so cute, and I have 2 of them in this journal. But if you're looking for viewfinders, if you want to look at the different kits that I have, you can go to my Etsy shop, and in the search bar, you can type in viewfinders and you will see all of them. All of them will pop up. Okay, there's a journaling card. Okay, so here I have a piece of that chiffon fabric, and I just hand stitched some excess on there. Okay, so this right here is kind of a little tuck spot. That's kind of the idea. Okay, so here I have a yellow paper clip with some lace on there, and then this wraps around the page. And this page is great for journaling, right? So if you journal on there and you kind of want to hide your journaling, I like to do that. I like to cover up some of my personal journaling. And so this can just wrap around it, right? And this is a vintage book page, which I embellished. And isn't this just so pretty? So what I did was I added this. This is a cabinet card, and then I added a washi tape strip on the bottom, and then I added some lace right here, and then one of the fussy cut roses. But I also have some book page right here. So I just did a bit of collaging to add some interest. And then when this opens up, I have this is hand-dyed paper, and it's yellow. And then I have a fussy cut rose, some lace, and then I have this here, which is a label. And then on this side, I have this piece, and this could be journaled on, and you can date it right here. So isn't that just so cute? I just love it. And then it just kind of covers up. So plenty of journaling space. Okay. Then there's more journaling space here. This is another Fussy Cut Roses. And then I did a little bit of collaging here. I have a printable with dictionary words, and I used one of them here. I think that a lot of the, like the creams and like that craft color works so well with the yellow. So it's really nice. When I worked on this journal, I like to use some contrast so that everything isn't just yellow, because I had so much yellow or so many different yellow pages. So one thing that works really well, like it's a good idea to keep in mind, is to break it up with like book pages, and also with like that craft color. I have it in here. I just saw it. The craft color book packaging, or like paper bag. It looks so good with the yellow. I just love it. So it's nice to use contrast, and it kind of helps the yellow really stand out more. I use some Amity Bloom tape right here. Here's another layout with the butterflies. I think that's so cute. I just love it. Okay, I have a little belly band here, and I used again one of my dictionary page or printable, and this one has butterfly, and then I have a tag, and I just did a little bit of collaging on here with some lace, and one of my this is from my haberdashery kit, and then I did a little bit of stamping on the back. Have a book page with the pretty flowers. Some more lined paper. I love this paper. I feel like it works so well in this journal, and I love that vintage look. Here I folded the book, not the book page, the lined paper. I folded it, and then I glued down one of the cabinet card printables that I have. And I did a little bit of collaging on the back. I used some Amity Bloom washi tape. I used some craft paper on there. And then I just grabbed a piece of coffee dye paper, and I stamped it. I have this little stamp. Isn't that just so cute? I thought that was a nice little detail. And then I have this library card. This is in one of my kits too. And then this is just perfect for journaling, right? Just lots of journaling space. And then this, I added a bit of wash silk sari down here. I have, I like this. I thought that was really cute. It's a dictionary page, and it says candied fruits. And I thought that was cute because she's got the apple. She's holding the apple. Okay, so here I have, let's see if I can remember what I have. So I have the paper clip with the lace, and I have bits and pieces here that you can use in the journal. I have a yellow little doily. This is also from my dictionary printable. It has some strips where you can just write on them, and it just has a number. I also have this tag here, and this is a really simple way to make it really practical and just add a little bit to it. This could be further decorated, of course, but on the back, I just cut a strip of a printable, and I just tuck these in, right? This is a little tag, and this is a little journaling card. And so I just made a little pocket out of a tag. Okay, so this is one of my printables, and I just folded it up. So basically, it could be, you can use it as journaling, and you can also collage on it. And so, or you can just tear it up and use it in the journal to kind of add some more, I think I had it like that. So you can just use it in the journal if you wanted to. Okay, this was on the other side, and this is a little journaling card. And I just embellished it by using a little bit of corrugated cardboard, and then a little piece of eyelet lace, and then a little scrap of fabric, and I tied it into a bow, and I stapled it on there. So it's really simple, but just so cute. This is a book page, and I actually reinforced it with some of this eyelet fabric. So here I have another pocket, and then I have these 2 tags. Another simple way to decorate tags is just to add a little bit of book page and then just add a butterfly on there. Okay, and then the butterfly, you can see the body of it is made just from some cotton twine. I just grabbed some twine, folded it in half, and then tied a little knot for its head, and then I clipped off the extras or the excess so that it fits on the butterfly. And I think it's such a cute little way to embellish a butterfly. It gives it some more dimension and texture. So this one, I just tied a little bit of this. It's like a chiffon fabric. And so I made a little bow and I attached it here, and it's perfect for, adding a verse or a quote. And then it just goes there. This opens up, so you can see the lace that I used to kind of reinforce the spine. And then I have this little piece here. This is one of the ephemera pieces, and I just covered the back, and I made a little pocket out of these tickets. I've been using these tickets a lot lately. I have a kit. This was one of my first printables that I made. And I've been using them a lot because they come in a lot of different colors. And I have like blues, grays, yellows, whites. And so they're just great for using for layering. And I made a pocket out of that one. And I just tucked in these pieces that could be used in the journal. You know what? I'm going to put everything that I used on this journal. I'll put everything on sale. So if you want to pick up a digital, go check out my shop because they're all gonna be on sale, everything that I used in this journal. Okay, so here I made a little pocket. Isn't this so cute? I used some vintage like netting. I used this fabric right here is also vintage. It's actually from a lampshade, and I think that is so cool. And then I have this cluster of flowers right here. Isn't that just so cute? I just stapled it on there. And so I made a little tuck spot with this little cluster. I think it's so cute. And then I have this, basically I grabbed a piece of coffee dyed paper and I tore it. And then I layered some fabrics. This is hand dyed. The first one is hand dyed, so you can see a little bit of yellow on there. And then this is some vintage yellow fabric and then some vintage lace. And then I used one of my haberdashery labels, and I just stapled this bit of twine at the top. And isn't that so sweet? It's like such a simple way to make ephemera, and it really adds a lot to a page. And then you can also journal in here, and it's covered up. It looks like it's just, made to look pretty, but then you have like a memory or something inside. Okay, let's move on. I got some more pieces in here. I got a little tuck spot right there. And then I have the fussy cut roses. I got a label. I have this pretty little tag and then a library card. And they all tuck in there. This is from a floral book page, and I embellished it with some fabric. This is like Swiss dot. It's like a lace, like a ribbon maybe. I have some fabric underneath there. I have this pom-pom trim. I actually dyed that myself. I have the little cutout of the lemon. Isn't that just so cute? Okay, and then in here I have this little, I used I believe this is my journaling card. So I used one of the journaling cards on here, and I just grabbed a strip of coffee dyed paper and I glued it on one corner, and then I just folded it in three, right? So we got a lot of journaling space on there. And then I did a little bit of stamping just to add a little bit of detail. And then this is again from my haberdashery collection. I have a bunch of these little, the little labels, and there's so many ways to use them. Like you can use them right there. You can use them like I did there. I use them a lot and I just love them. They just add a little bit of something extra to your project or to your ephemera. And then I have this piece of like cotton fabric just to add some interest. Okay, I have this pretty piece. I love, love, love this fabric so much. This is from a dress that I cut up. It's a vintage dress and it's a yellow and white. It's like a Swiss, dotted Swiss, and it's textured. See if you can see. It's so pretty. I just love it so much. I have a little bit of piece left right here. See that? I used it on the spine of the journal too. So that's what this is. Okay, and then this is a vintage invoice. Okay, so here I used the viewfinder again, and I just love it. I think it's so cool. It just adds something extra to your journal. I think it's really great. I tend to kind of like, I fiddle with a lot of stuff. And so this adds like kind of that, if you like to kind of like take things out and play with stuff and have some more extra interaction in your journal, this is really great. I just love it. And so then I have these little tickets that are tucked in here. I've also tucked like little journaling cards or smaller tags in here with like journaling. And so you can use it as a text spot. I think it's super cute. And on the other side, I just added one of these yellow doilies to kind of cover up the back of this. But what I've done in the past, I've also just used an extra viewfinder on the other side. So basically I'd have two viewfinders back to back. And then what I would do, I would just glue it on here. Or if you want to use the brad so that it spins, if you pull the brad out all the way to the other end, you'll see the prongs. So you can cover the prongs with something like a butterfly, like I did here, right? Okay, and then this is a, it's like a newspaper page from 1879. Isn't that amazing? I love it. I reinforced it with some washi tape from Amity Bloom. And then here I have this little butterfly. I thought it would be so cute right here, and it just attaches on here. Okay. And then, oops, these came off. So on the other side, I just have a strip of paper, this little printable. I think it's so cute. And then a ticket. Okay, and they just get tucked on here. Here's another one of those, the haberdashery, the little labels. And I just attached them to this, to some fabric and some lace. And I think it's such a pretty embellishment. Okay, so this is the other side of that invoice. And then here I have this. I was going to say what I did. This was just like some packaging. And I thought, let me see if I can make it over. So I added some washi tape to it. And then I glued one of my labels on there. And then I can just tuck in some things in there, like this little tag and just some ephemera pieces, see? So I thought that's kind of cute. And I just tucked it in there. Okay, I have this little... okay, so I remember what I did. So this is this is one of my printables, my fussy cut printables, and this is how it comes. So I cut it out and then folded it up. And so I have this little lemon. It's like a little card. But what I did with this one, I first actually glued it down on some fabric and then I cut it out. And so it's got this cool texture, right? And so then you can just add it like this to a page if you wanted to. Or you can glue just one side down and one can open like a flip out. But I love that. It was kind of a fun little thing to do. Here's another one of those tickets that I used. Okay, so here I have this vintage netting, and I have these framed images or images that I just love. And so I love this effect because you can write on here and this kind of hides it. And when you flip it open, you have like a full page to work on. I did some collaging on here. I thought that was really cute. The little lamb is a freebie in my Ko-fi shop. I have freebies in my Ko-fi shop, and I have some in on my blog too. Okay, so this opens up. I have this, just like some different fabric pieces. I think they're so pretty. And then the little butterfly. And then this is some chiffon that I just glued on here. This came from a blouse, and I love this buttery yellow color. So what I did was I just kept the way it was gathered. I kept that so that it makes my ruffles, because why not work with what it already has, right? Or when it's already done for you. Okay, so here I cut this lady out. Isn't that just so cute? And I just glued it on top of there for an embellishment. And I have a ruffle with the little floral trim there. This is I think this is French. And it's a French book page, but a lot of it is, you can see all the markings. Like somebody really was studying it. Okay, so here I have this little bunch. I'm not going to open it up. It's all tied up with some twine. I have a butterfly. This can decorate the journal. I have these labels. These labels, I think, if I'm not mistaken, are from the kit with all the tickets, and they have like the same colors. Okay, either it's from the kit or it's from the collection. I'll link them below. Okay, so then I have this little piece. This is a little envelope. This is great also because you can put in like a little journaling note. You can fold this up, write something on it, and tuck it in. And then it's just held together here by this little bulldog clip. On the other side, okay, actually, I'm going to take this off. On the other side, so the paper is the vintage lined yellow paper. And then I added a book page. I think this is no, it's not the French. It's just a vintage book page. I have another yellow. This is a different type of yellow. Lined paper for journaling, and then just some ephemera that you can use. Oops, this is upside down. Okay, so I just included some bits there, and then this is from my dictionary book page, or my dictionary printable, excuse me. Okay, so here I have I believe this is like a recipe. It's from a recipe book, and I love the type. It's like typewriter, and it says "Hello Dolly Cookies." Isn't that cute? I thought that was sweet. Okay, so here I have a little collage of fabrics. I have the yellow, like a cotton yellow, and then this white eyelet. And I love the way you can see the yellow through the eyelet. And then I have this little bird. Now this bird is from a printable. It's from the printable with the framed art pieces. So it framed the bird, but I cut it out because I wanted to use it there. Okay. And so then I have these little pieces there, the little floral. And I have this little piece of yellow and white twine tied up on here, and it's all attached with a little bowl pin. Is that focused? Okay. Okay, so here I have this little piece that I made. I think it's really cute. This is a really simple, easy project also. I make these a lot for my journals. Basically, it's a book page. You fold it in half, and then you can collage on the inside, and then you can add either coffee dyed paper or like a craft colored paper to journal on. And then the cover, I usually like to do a little bit of layering. In this case, I layered some dotted Swiss. It's like a lace. And then I added one of my fussy cut printables on the top. I do this a lot because it's very simple and I just love the way it looks. I think it's really pretty. And I also love to tie something around it, like around the spine. I just think it's so pretty. And so this is a fun little make. Maybe I'll do a craft with me if you guys want of these. I probably should make a bunch. Okay, and then on this side, I think this is so cute. I took one of my aesthetic photos of the yellow rose, and I actually printed let's see, I think I have it here. Yes. I printed 2 per page, so 2 printables per page so that I can get them smaller. So they're about half the size of a full size because I'm working with a smaller scale journal and I just love working with this size too. But isn't that just so cute? So I printed 2 per page and then I just used some corrugated cardboard to just kind of give it some contrast and help it stand out from the book page. And then I added a little bit of this textured fabric on the back of it. It's like a lace. And it's very simple, but it's so pretty and it gives you a nice visual. I always love to have some kind of visual when I have with my writing. So I'll have like a blank page that I write on and I like to have like a focal point or a visual on the other side. Okay, so this side right here, I have this little notepad that I made, and I think it's so cute. You can use your scraps to make this. And I basically use different types of paper because it's so pretty to see the different variations because it is a waterfall style notepad, right? And so you can either collage on here or you can write on here. I mean, you can take this and just like tuck it in your purse and just write something every day. Like you can write what you're happy about or what you're thankful for that day, right? I'm looking for something, and this right here, no, it's not. I thought this was a tuck spot, but it's not. It's just to reinforce the bottom there. Okay, so then you could just tuck it in or you can just tuck it over if you wanted to. You can just go like this. Isn't that so cute? Okay, that's another printable. I love this because this is perfect for journaling. Even right here, I would journal and then add some kind of image up there. Do a bit of collaging maybe. Isn't that such a sweet image? I love that. Oops. It reminds me of like the spring and the summer. And then, of course, the brown craft paper, which I love to use. Okay, so here I just kind of tuck this inside between the pages. I think that it looks so cute. I love to do that too because it's just simple and it's like a little surprise that you find in there. So this is like a little bundle. I have this coffee dyed paper that could be written on. And then I embellished it by tying a bit of yellow and white twine. And then these little floral pieces on there. Isn't that just so cute? Okay, and then here's the other side of the other piece of the netting, this tool, this vintage tool. Okay, and then here I did a little bit of collaging. I used some fabric on the spine again, and I used some lace, and I also used this This is one of my flashcard printables, and I believe I made it smaller also. So I printed them 2 to a page. Okay. Okay, so here I have, again, the craft paper. I love using it. I love the contrast. I just layered a bit of white lace and then this fussy cut of the yellow rose. Isn't that pretty? And then I added a little bit of like this little yellow fabric, and I just tied it up right there for a little detail at the top. This is a book page. Isn't that pretty? I just added a piece of book page at the top there. Here I used this little, this is like one of those garment tags, I think. And I just did a little bit of layering on there, and I used that little stamp. Isn't that cute? I just got that stamp, so I had to use it for this journal. I was like, okay, where can I use it? It's so cute. And then coffee dyed paper. This is a vintage piece of paper, and I did a little bit of layering on here. And then I added this. This is from one of my printables. I have some vintage images of birds, and so I just tore this little section out, and it could be a tuck spot. And I did a bit of collaging up there. Isn't that just so cute? I love her. I cut her out. I think she was in either a journaling card or a tag. I'm not sure. But I just used one of these frames, and I added a bit of book page behind, and then I put her in there so it looks like she's sitting, almost like she's on a chair. Okay, here I have this fabric piece right here. Oh my gosh, I love this fabric so much. It's actually, it's vintage, and I gotta show it to you because it's pretty cool. It's like one of my favorite things. It was a lampshade. It's a vintage lampshade. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have it because the fabric is so cool and it's aged so well. And so you can see in here, I just kind of kept that the way it's folded. I kept that fold, and then I just did some hand sewing right there, and then I did the embroidery, the French knots. Oops. I sewed the French knots on there, and I thought it was so pretty. Anyways, I love this detail, and I glued it on to the strip of book page. Oh, and this, I didn't realize. Okay, so this just tucks there, but this opens up. See that? And that's just, you can just go like that. But actually, I had this here. See, that adds more interest. Isn't that pretty? And then this is the last page. And then I have the pocket. So I have a lot of hand stitching that went in this journal. So much. And then these are journaling cards. They can get tucked in here. Okay, so this is the journal. And this journal will be coming to my Etsy shop. And I will write, if it's sold, I'll write that in the description box below. Look at all the beads and all the little trinkets. I just love all these little pieces. I think they're so cute. Okay, so that's the journal, and it goes in here. Isn't that so cute? Okay, and then I wanted to show you guys this. Okay, so this textile kit is, I kind of tried to put together everything that I used. It has a few extra pieces, but kind of everything that I used in here that I had. So I actually added I made these. Aren't they so pretty? So I basically printed the spool, the thread spool, and I glued them onto thicker cardboard. See how it's not like just cardstock. It's like chipboard almost. And I glued them on both sides, and then I wrapped the thread around them so that they could be used in the journal. And then I used these little pins. I have these here. Aren't they just so cute? I love that they're yellow. So I used them to attach the little pieces like the bows and the little flower embellishment. Okay, and then I have, let's see, let's start with this. Okay, so I used one of my haberdashery little labels on here. And here are all the fabrics that or all the different pieces that are included. So if you wanted to make something similar, I just wanted to make sure I included a lot of the pieces that I used, right? Here's another piece. This is some sari silk. This is that dotted Swiss. This is cotton. I love the cotton with this whole collection because it just, it's cottagecore, right? And then some tulle. Okay, so that piece. And then this piece, the white doily, the lace. I have this. This is extra. I didn't use this in my journal. This is like an elastic ruffle. This is cotton, but this is like that Indian, it's like from the Indian dresses. And then some vintage lace, and then some of this. This is my favorite, guys. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. This is the star of the show. Okay, and then I love the tulle too. I feel like it works really well. And then the cotton. I love this buttery yellow color. It's just so pretty with everything. Okay, oh, and I don't want to forget the little floral. I love that so much. And it adds so much to a journal. Okay, now I have, let's take this off. This is some really pretty ribbon. And then I included 3 different flower petals, and I just included them on a bullpen. And I also included a little white button, a vintage button. But basically, that's what I used here are the flower petals. Now, I cut one of the flower petals out, and then I stitched them closer together, right? This one, I folded it in half, and I sewed it on there. Here, I think I kind of overlapped some. So I kind of played with them. When I sew things, I kind of make them work for me, right? Okay, then I have this one too with the different trims, lace. Okay, all the different pieces. So there's so much in this kit. And then this right here, I got to show you guys, this is larger than my journal. My journal was like maybe like this. So this would make a full-size journal, but you can cut it down. You can use it as you wish, of course. And then I have the chiffon. And what I did with the chiffon, I did little gathers like this, right? And that's when I embroidered the little flowers. So you want this piece to be larger, right? Than the cover if you're going to do something similar, because you want it to gather and make the little tucks on there. Okay, now this is what I used for the cover. So if you wanted to make a cover similar to this is the fabric that I used, right? And I hand stitched it. I made it like a box, if that makes sense. I actually just put the journal in, and then I cut the different pieces, and then I sewed them back together. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I wanted to make sure I include this too. If you wanted to make something similar, I have the kits. Okay. Or I have the kit. I just have one, guys. And I kind of have a hard time remaking something. So I decided, well, let me just offer this if anybody else wants to make one similar, right? Okay, so that's the journal, and then I have the textile kit. And then I also have, obviously, the printables, the Yellow Roses collection. And it's all gonna be on sale. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this flip through and this kind of, I guess it was kind of a show and tell. I hope you guys find it inspiring, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.